at DC on a work trip, and I figured that while I'm at this luxurious hotel on this super modern looking couch, I figured I'll talk about something that I haven't mentioned before. In October 21st through 24th, I actually went to Austin, Texas to attend US Grand Prix. Actually, as I was researching and preparing to attend Formula 1 Grand Prix, I didn't see that much content that would explain you what the experience is like and what are the things you should consider. And I wanted to share my experience, and I think it's going to be applicable to a lot of Grand Prix around the world because Formula 1 runs them in very similar fashion. Let's get straight to it. Item number one, you want to make sure you get the actual tickets to the Formula 1 before you take care of everything else, because believe it or not, they do sell out pretty fast. The advice to all of you who are actually not that experienced at Formula 1, don't go crazy with the tickets. It's a very unique experience, and I would say if you're attending for the first time, you just want to get a taste of it, and do the general admission. General admission would allow you to walk around the circuit without the assigned seats and soak in the spirit and the experience of the festivity, which is the Formula 1 Grand Prix is. Now, as for those who are more experienced at Formula 1 and consider themselves true fans, I would say you do want to make sure you get nice seats. The best part of the experience when it came to our tickets was the fact that we're sitting at the main grandstands at the start-finish line, and we were actually facing the podium. So we didn't even have to run out to the track as they were preparing to award the winners of the Grand Prix. If you're very passionate about the sport and if you're ready to commit north of $300 US per ticket, do your research. I'll try to link some of the useful websites below, but the primary purpose of your research should be figuring out where your seats are located, so looking at the seat maps for this particular circuit, and making sure you maybe even look up some of the videos to see what the view will be like. Let's move on to the next lesson. Now, item number 2 on your list should be figuring out the dates. You do have a little bit of overlap with the prior conversation about buying the tickets when you're figuring out the dates, because each Formula 1 weekend consists of 3 days. There is a free practice day, there is a qualification day, and there's an actual race day. The race day always happens on Sunday. You can pick all 3 days and buy the tickets for all 3 days of access, because there'll be a lot of things to do. The racetrack usually has a lot of entertainment. Sometimes they have free concerts, like in Austin they had Justin Timberlake, which was included with the tickets. Just make sure you check local event, because I think from one race to the other the type of activities varies, so you want to double check. But in Austin it was actually pretty cool. But because we had a kid, we were not necessarily able to attend all 3 days. Imagine for the fact you pick out the dates. What's important now is if it's your first time, pick one day. Pick one day, come for the race day, and your trip then should be consisting of however many days you want to pad before the actual race. So whether you want to arrive on Saturday, Friday, Thursday, it's really up to you. But for those of you who are true enthusiasts of sport, I would say stick around and come for free practice day, which is Friday, or qualification, which is Saturday. The autograph sessions alone, if they host them at your Grand Prix, I think are worth it. If you are into the sport and you think you want to make the most of it, come in and attend Friday, Saturday, and go enjoy the race on Sunday. Let's go talk now about what do you need to consider once you settle on the dates. You have the dates now. Whether you are an amateur who just want to explore the event for the first time, or if you're a real enthusiast of sport and you're attending every single day, at least now you know what the days are. Next step, the balance is now between the hotel and the flights, because you know the dates, and trust me, all the local hotel vendors know what those dates are as well. So you really want to make sure you start thinking about the lodging and the airfare in advance when it comes to picking the hotel or airfare. Nah, the advice I don't think differs that much between sport fanatics or people who are just tagging along or wanted to check out the event for the first time. You just want to make sure you plan way in advance. It's very hard for me to give you an advice because it really depends on which dates you pick. And once you pick the dates and you know you're gonna go, you bought the tickets, just commit and get the airfare, and definitely make sure you take care of the hotel. Check out the Airbnb, check out the different hotels in the area. Don't be afraid to book a hotel a little bit further out of the city, because at the end of the day, like in case of Austin, Texas, the circuit is actually 25 minutes outside of the city, and we picked a hotel which was about 35 minutes outside of the city. We were actually much closer to the race circuit than the city center, and it played into the price of the hotel. Plus, what we did, we actually just rented a car. And unless it is a city circuit like Singapore, Monaco, Baku, I would strongly advise to actually rent a car, because usually those racetracks are located outside of the city, so you're gonna have to get there. And trust me, please trust me, you don't want to deal too much with the public transportation, because there probably won't be much of it anyway. So rent a car. Renting a car allows you to go and pick a hotel a little bit further out, maybe a little bit closer to the track, further out of the city, but at the same time, it will make your life 1,000 times easier. So it doesn't really differ that much. I don't need to do this or this. On to the next one. Actually, quick note on Austin itself. If you are going to the US Grand Prix, you're going to Austin. Buy parking as well. In our case, if we would have stayed in the city center, there were an option to take a shuttle, but shuttle takes about 20 to 25 minutes if there is no traffic. And on a race day, believe me, there's a lot of traffic. It can take up to an hour and a half to get from the city into the racetrack. Just bite the bullet because of the fact that you're already spending a decent amount of money on everything else, and just pay for parking. Don't wait. In Austin, the tickets were actually about $100 for one parking spot, but it's a parking spot for a car. So if there are 4 friends and each one of you spends $25, you cover the parking spot, and you make your life so much easier, because now you're in control when you're getting in, when you're getting out. Just take into account the travel time. It's gonna be long, it's gonna be frustrating, and hopefully you're gonna make sure you're not late. So yeah, and I think my final advice is really make sure you make an event out of this. And you should not be really going there just for the race, because trust me, it's gonna be crazy getting in right as everyone is trying to get in for the first day of the race weekend, which is Friday, or getting out right after the race is over, which is Sunday night or Monday morning. Make it last. If you can afford it, do some things around the city. Like in our case, we actually had some nice family time at the hotel because we stayed an extra, I think, day and a half, and it was amazing.
Okay, that was the first attempt.
He's tough. He says that thing got away from me. Come back here.
Let's go. Round 2. They actually have a 24/7 pecan vending machine. 21st century people.
I think those are really the main points that I wanted to bring to you. Nothing super major or crazy. I think those are very logical, but I actually had a hard time. I had to go in between different resources to collect and understand what's gonna happen during the event. Hopefully this video helps you a little bit more. Feel free to ask me more questions in the comments below. Find me on Twitter or Instagram. Have fun. Make a vacation out of it. Don't just come there for the race. Come there for the experience. Well, what can I say? This was a very nice way to spend this lonely evening on a work trip. Now this guy, TohirT, I'm gonna go get some rest. It's been a long week. I'm looking forward to starting the edit and hopefully hearing your feedback and comments in the section below. Hey, there's a comment section and there's a subscribe button somewhere over there. Don't forget about it. As always, thank you very much for your attention. I'll see you next one, guys. See ya. Peace. Hello again. This is actually the morning after. I woke up this morning feeling a particular way and I realized why. The fun fact is I actually planned to shoot the video that I made here in DC back during the F1 weekend in Austin, but for some reason I just stopped and I kind of gave up on that video idea, and I figured that, you know what, maybe someday in the future I'm gonna use it for something else. Coming back to yesterday, getting my hair together and actually sitting down and shooting the video made me feel so good, because God, it feels nice to actually finish something. Thank you guys. See you in the next one.